So I'm going to work exercise 1-10. This is the first homework problem out there in Connect. Now yours might have different numbers, right? Because you guys have an algorithmic homework system, so it changes numbers, so not everybody's doing the same one. But it's the same problem. So your first question matches exercise 1-10 from your book on page 52. And with this problem, we're trying to make some decisions, and we need to be able to understand how our costs increase as we make changes to our production. So we want to understand, how are my incremental costs going to vary? Right, and that's going to help me make a decision. So it says to use the data from exercise 1-7. Now that's just this book problem. I think you have your own standalone data out there, but I'm going to go over here to 1-7, and you'll see there's a list of some costs, right? So our direct materials are 7 per unit, direct labor is 4 per unit, and so on. So here's the cost per unit that we need to use to make this decision. All right, so what's the first thing we're trying to figure out? All right, so we're trying to figure out what is the incremental manufacturing cost incurred if the company increases production from 20,000 to 20,001. So just what's the 1 unit incremental cost? So I made myself a little sheet here to make it easier to do. Now on yours you have, you'll fill in the blanks, right, out there on the McGraw-Hill Connect. So I need to know what's my direct materials. So that's $7. What's my direct labor, right? So I'm trying to find all my incremental costs for producing a unit, right? I need my conversion costs. Well, no, I'm meaning my materials too. Sorry, not conversion costs. I just need all my variable costs. Direct labor is 400. That's right, I'm just going for incremental. Is $400, it's $4. Okay, $7 and $4. And then the variable, so that's $1.50, right? So if I want to know how much it costs me to produce 1 more unit, I need to just figure out, well, what are the costs per unit that change with units, right? Those are the variable costs. So of course that's direct materials, direct labor, and my variable manufacturing overhead. So 7 and 4 is 11 plus $1.50 is $12.50. So in this case, it's $12.50. So if my variable costs total $12.50. So every time I make a new unit, my costs increase by $12.50. All right. So part 2, what is the incremental cost incurred if the company increases production and sales from 20,000 to 20,001. So right, if it costs us something to sell a unit, well that's a relevant cost. So I need to figure that in, right? So what does it actually, so this is the cost to make an additional unit, right? It costs $12.50 to make an additional unit. What does it cost me to make and sell an additional unit? That's what this is asking, right? An incremental cost for 1 more unit. So now I need to come back over here, and so I still need all my variable manufacturing costs. I don't need any fixed ones, so I'm going to skip this fixed overhead and fixed selling and fixed admin. But if I'm going to sell, I'm going to have to pay some sales commissions, and I'm going to have to pay the variable admin expense. So I have all my same direct materials, 7, direct labor, 4, variable manufacturing overhead is still $1.50. Now I add my sales commission, which we said was $1 per unit, and I add my variable administrative expenses, which is 50 cents. So we add all those up, so it's still $12.50, $13.50, $14. So to make and sell an additional unit costs me $14 every time I do it. Let's look at part 3. Assume that Cuban company produces 20,000 units and expects to sell 19,800 of them. All right, so we have a few left over. If a new customer unexpectedly emerges and expresses interest in buying the 200 extra units that have been produced and that would otherwise remain unsold, what is the incremental manufacturing cost per unit to sell the... So this is kind of hard. What is the incremental manufacturing cost to sell them, right? So they're not asking for this incremental sales, or they're just saying, what's the manufacturing cost? Well, there is no additional cost. They're already produced, right? So it's 0, right? The cost is 0. Sunk. Already produced. All right, so last part of exercise 1-10. Assume that Cuban company produced 20,000 units and expects to sell 19,800. If a new customer unexpectedly emerges and expresses interest in buying the 200 extra units that have been produced by the company and that would otherwise remain unsold, what incremental selling and administrative cost per unit is incurred to sell it? So that's a different question, right? Question 3, they were already made, so there is no additional cost, right? That's just a sunk cost. But it is going to cost us a little something extra to sell them, right? So the cost we had related to selling them is $1 for the sales commission and 50 cents for the variable. So that's $1.50. All right, so that's it. That's how you work exercise 1-10, and it's similar to your first exercise it's exactly like your first exercise in McGraw-Hill Connect, just you're going to have different numbers. Okay, well, get in touch if you need any help with this problem. Good luck with it.